All right, guys, happy Tuesday. If you missed yesterday or anything from yesterday, um, please review the video. It is posted. The most important part of yesterday was us going over the new schedule. Um, if you need to go over it more in depth, go ahead and look again at yesterday's video. But in case you missed it, I did post it inside of our module this week. Um, Make sure that you are paying attention to where you are assigned basically. So if you're staying online, you're green and you don't start school every day. I mean, you're supposed to do like your own time work from 7:30 to 10:10, but you don't actually check in with teachers or do your virtual check-ins until starting at 11. If you're cohort A, you go to school on Monday and Tuesday, and then you check in online like everybody else, starting at 11. And if you're cohort B, then you don't do the morning, you do the check-in, and then you go distance learning in the afternoon with the virtual students. And it is the opposite on Thursday and Friday. Um, so main thing is next week for everybody. I actually learned yesterday after I talked to you guys, I went to a training and was told that virtual check-in doesn't have to be at this specific time, but you do have to do the virtual check-in. So say like my virtual check-in is up before your fourth period teachers. Then you could totally go in and do mine at 11, and then your fourth period teachers like sometime before noon, sometime before 11:55. You just have to do it within this day or you're considered absent within the school day. And then the other thing I learned is that there is no more IC check-in after this week. This week you can totally still check yourself in on Infant Campus, but next week it goes away. In order to be marked present, you have to be either in class if you're cohort A or B, or you have to be in Zoom with me or you're marked absent. So usually I check your Canvas times in and out to mark you present. And now I have to actually look at who joins us in class. So if you're not in Zoom or in-person learning because you're A or B, then you're marked absent. You can still do your work and get your grade, but you're marked absent. So please make sure to join us in Zoom so that you are marked present, because you cannot mark yourself present any other way. And I can't mark you present even if you're doing your work in Zoom. The other thing I learned is that say you are cohort A and your parents decided that you're going to go to school. So you're cohort A, which means you're red, but you're sick or you get quarantined because somebody in your family gets COVID. Um, you cannot come to school, but you can join us online for the distance learning part of Monday. Um, the problem is that because you're not in school and you're signed up to be in school, you'll still be marked absent, but you can still join our class. So the important part of that is even if you go to another one of my classes to join it, if you're not in your assigned class, you are marked absent. So it's like being in school again. You have to be there during your period or you're marked absent. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any further questions about this, go over the schedule overview. It makes things a lot easier. And then I started, but I've only done one period so far of actually putting it on our Canvas pages exactly when you're supposed to be with me during your period. So as of right now, I've only done fifth period, but let me show you what it looks like. I'm still going to be doing third period and sixth period, but I just want you guys to see it. So this is kind of what it's going to look like. And I made the colors match the same that the district put out. So again, red is A, blue is B, and green is all virtual or all online. So you can see like when you're supposed to be here according to your color. So for example, if you are red, then you know you have to go Monday sometime between 11 and 11:55 to do your check-in. And my check-ins are going to be an assignment. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. an assignment, but it'll be something simple. So because we're not turning in any work this week, your check-in will be to turn in your work from this week. And we have 2 check-ins next week. So I'll say like, turn this, this, and this in for your check-in, and then turn this, this, and this in for your check-in. And then you'll be marked present for the check-in and you'll get your points. After that, it's probably going to be some sort of warm-up or exit ticket kind of thing, some kind of question about what we're doing in order to get your virtual check-in time, or some kind of simple uh, video or something for you to do so you can get it done. Um, I will be limiting mine to the time that the district allotted, which is 15 minutes. But I did find out yesterday that your teacher can count something as a check-in, as a virtual check-in, and it be longer than 15 minutes. I won't do that unless I'm having it take the place of something else. But for the most part, it'll be pretty simple. Okay, sorry, I totally got off subject. So if you're A, you know you have to meet Monday from 11 to 11:55. Tuesday, you have to be in school for my class from 8:25 to 9:15. Then Wednesday, you have to come back from 11 to 11:40. And then Thursday, everybody comes back again from 11 to 11:55 for the check-in, sometime in there. And then for Friday, you would meet virtually with the online students from 12:55 to 1:45. Again, this is just 5th period and I still need to do 3rd and 6th. So I was just working one at a time, but you go by your color. So again, if you're A, you're red, if you're B, you're blue, and if you're C, you're green. And then C and green is actually, you're just staying like we are now online. The truth of the matter is the majority of you guys are staying online, including my own kids, so that's okay. But look for the green. I'm just pointing it out because the majority of you guys are still going to be green. So you need to do these things. For the check-in, meaning when I say complete, you just have to complete my check-in in between this time. It doesn't mean that you have to come into Zoom. In fact, I'll probably change this and put like Zoom for when you're supposed to be in class just to make it easier. This just means do that assignment in between this time and you're fine. We do have allotted times, but for me personally, as long as you do it sometime in between 11 and 11:55, you're fine. And those are just for virtual check-ins. Whenever it says class, that's going to be a Zoom meeting unless it says in person. So I'll actually put right here, Zoom, 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 so that everybody knows, oh, that means I need to actually get into Zoom to be marked present, okay? And hopefully I get that done by the end of the day for everybody's class, but I just wanted to go over that. So let's go ahead and look at today's module. Again, all of your Romeo and Juliet play is up here and it's separated by acts. I'll probably combine them into one page so that I can link them on our home page. But for right now, they're here. And the only one we're using this week is this first one because the prologue is in the first page. But I also linked you guys to it in today's lesson. So let's go ahead and click at getting ready to read prologue. And then look right below it, you'll see that the prologue questions you need to do, but you cannot turn them in today. Let me show you what I mean. I told you this, oops, I meant to look at student view. I told you guys yesterday you're not turning anything in. So if you look right here for your prologue questions, it says no due date, 0 points. It's because I haven't opened it up for you guys to submit it and I don't want it affecting your grade. You do need to do it and you need to save it just like I told you guys yesterday. So let's go ahead and go back into today's lesson. All right, so looking at getting ready to read. Have you seen this movie? So we're gonna watch a little clip of Romeo and Juliet. Hang on just a moment.
The story you are about to see has been told before. A lot. And now we are going to tell it again. But different. It's about 2 star-crossed lovers kept apart by a big feud. No one knows how this feud started, but it's all quite entertaining. Unfortunately, before we begin, there is a rather long, boring prologue, which I will read to you now. Two households, both alike in dignity. In fair Verona, where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge, break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two...
All right, so that was just their parody of the prologue, and it's actually really not that long. But you've probably already seen Romeo and Juliet, and you probably also know that it's actually making fun of it, which is what a parody is. But without having studied the play on which the parody is based, you probably won't get most of the jokes. So by reading and watching Romeo and Juliet, we're going to have a greater understanding of the movie, and I bet it'll become new too when you watch it again. I'm talking about Romeo and Juliet. So normally when we were in class, like the last a couple of years I taught Romeo and Juliet, we actually watched Romeo and Juliet and picked out like the ways that it was the same, the way they changed it and found some of the jokes. You get it more when you understand the background. Um, by the way, like I said before, the prologue is not long and boring. It is, however, a spoiler. And back in Shakespeare's time, or even before that in ancient Greek society, there really wasn't such a thing as a spoiler alert. What it did was the prologue told us the story in just a 14-line sonnet, which means if you get the prologue, you're going to understand the play. Of course, this particular play is so widely well known that you probably already know the story anyway, but here it is. So we're going to go ahead and look at the text. I'm going to play the prologue here, but if you click right here, it will also take you to our textbook, and the prologue begins right here. I told you it wasn't long and boring, but I'm going to go ahead and play that actual part from the movie. Give me just a moment. From one of the movies. So traditionally, I would be playing for you in class the 1960s version of Romeo and Juliet, but one came out recently and it has the pictures in your textbook with like Haley Steinfeld. So that's the newest one. I have not watched that one. So when I refer to or show you guys clips, I will more than likely be showing you stuff from the 1960s version. So let's go ahead and look at or listen to this.
Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life. Whole misadventured piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love, and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end naught could remove, is now the 2 hours' traffic of our stage. The which if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend.
All right. Sometimes when you're listening to words like that or watching a movie like that, it helps to read along. So I just want to go through the prologue with you because it's super short and it's easier to understand, right? So let's look at this. Two households, both alike in dignity. And dignity means a high social rank. So they're very similar. Two households meaning Romeo's family and Juliet's family. And the way you're going to remember them is Juliet's last name is Capulet, and Capulet rhymes with Juliet. So that's how you can remember Juliet is Capulet and Romeo is Montague. So in fair Verona, where we lay our scene, so that's our setting in Verona, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny. So meaning that the families have been fighting with each other forever. They're like mortal enemies. Break to new mutiny. Now there's a new problem. where civil blood makes civil hands unclean, meaning like they're supposed to be civilized, but they're causing problems. And from forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life. They're saying like the children of these families that have been fighting forever and are mortal enemies end up becoming a pair of star-crossed lovers, like two people who fall completely in love and end up committing suicide, whose misadventured piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife, meaning that because the two of them end up killing themselves or dying, it ends up ending this lifelong battle between the two families. The fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children end not could remove, is now the 2 hours traffic of our stage, meaning the story of their love and the problems that happen in their family and the story of how they kill themselves. 2 hours traffic means like how long it takes for the play to be done, meaning like you're watching it on our stage, or if like you're watching a movie, it's basically telling us it's 2 hours long. So their whole story is what we're about to watch, is what that says. The which if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss our toil strife to mend. Basically meaning if you're paying attention to our play, we're going to try to show you what's going on in this so today you also have an assignment to answer some short questions about the prologue. Remember, save your work. If you are doing it in Microsoft 365, it's automatically going to save. You can go back to it and upload it next week during our check-in. If you're doing it in Google, it automatically saves. If you're like me and you do it on your computer, save it to your desktop. Put it in an English folder so you have it for next week. Or take a picture of it when you're done with it and save that to your desktop. If you're on an iPad, take a picture of your work. Keep it in your photographs on the iPad until next week so you can submit it. So let's go ahead and look at your questions. So the prologue sets the scene. Where does the chorus say the play takes place? We went over that. Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy. Write 3 words or phrases from the prologue that indicate the play will end sadly. So you go back through it. It's super short. Find 3 words that basically tell us these kids are going to kill themselves and it's going to be sad. And then we just went over this too. What does the 2 hours traffic of our stage mean? If you were just listening to me, you could answer that easily, or in your textbook on the right hand side, there's a definition and an explanation of 2 hours traffic per stage. So you can go back and get it from there as well. And then number 4, the story tells of 2 rivals families, the Capulets and the Montagues. You have 2 references from the prologue that show the conflict between the families. As I was reading it to you and kind of translating it to you, I pointed out different samples of that show us that these 2 families have been battling way before the kids were even born, way before Romeo and Juliet came about. So find a couple of examples that show us that there is conflict between them. And again, I've said it like 5 times already. Save your work, please, so you can submit it next week. All right, give me just a moment.